My name is Zhane. I'm the founder of an AI startup that focuses on language learning. My family does not come from entrepreneurship at all. I always knew I wanted to start my own business. I needed to be financially responsible and save money.
What is the most complicated part about being a founder?
The most complicated part, I would say...
What's up, guys? Yasir here. Today we have a very special guest, Zhane Bennett.
Hi.
Welcome to my YouTube channel.
Thank you for having me.
Zhane, in your own words, tell us about yourself.
My name is Zhane, and I'm the founder of an AI startup that focuses on language learning. My AI startup is called LexPal. It stands for Language Exchange Pal, and it's a conversation platform for people to meet native speakers and practice their conversation skills. You can get to LexPal by going to LexPal.ai, and you can create an account. So it's www.lexpal.ai.
To meet native speakers and practice their conversation skills.
Yeah.
I am a Spanish learner right now.
Oh, great.
Estoy aprendiendo español.
¿Qué tal?
Necesito un AI para ayudarme.
Sí, necesitas una persona para hablar todo el tiempo contigo.
Yes, what you said.
So we're launching in about a month.
Okay.
And so if you go on lexpal.ai, you can scroll to the bottom and there's a wait list.
Okay.
So you can sign up to join the wait list and we'll have beta testing.
Okay.
So we're going to have like a friends and family thing where everyone can test it out and then we'll launch it to the public.
Do YouTube subscribers count as friends and family?
Yes, they do. So if you say where you found the app, we'll definitely give you even free credits.
Oh, wow. Okay. We love free. We love free. So let me ask you, my Spanish isn't very good.
Okay, I think it is.
There's room for improvement. But you know, one of the things that you said that it is like it's kind of what happens after Duolingo. As a Spanish speaker, like what there's levels to language learn. There's A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, right? Which is beginner, intermediate, native speaker. What levels of Spanish or any language do I need to be in order to use LexPal?
So you can start off as a complete beginner.
Okay.
We'll definitely have like flashcards on there for building beginner vocabulary, like AI flashcards, actually. And we'll have like exercises for beginners, things like that. And even at the beginner level, like if you've taken one university course or one high school course even, some people, took AP language in high school, they didn't take anything in college, and now they're as an adult, they want to go back and practice. So as long as you know how to create a sentence, as long as you know like some vocabulary sets, you can begin to start having a conversation with someone.
Right.
A lot of people, actually, one of the partners that I have now, she runs and she organizes a meetup. She goes every single week, and she is able to speak just from Duolingo.
Wow.
So I asked her, have you ever taken a course? Have you ever taken a class? She says no, but she's able to organize and go to these meetups and speak to people just from Duolingo alone.
That's amazing.
Yeah, except that she's still a very, very basic speaker. So
right.
LexPal, that's why I say LexPal is like the next step.
Yeah.
Because her next step is going to these meetups, talking to people, meeting people. And that's like the progression, I think. And I think LexPal will close the gap for a lot of these like apps, like Rosetta Stone, Duolingo, all of these apps.
Yeah, I mean, like I think I've used Rosetta Stone and Duolingo, and they kind of take you from maybe like 0 to 1.
Yeah.
But like getting from like 1 to 10 to like complete fluency.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like that they will ever get you there.
Yeah, they don't. They don't for a lot of people.
You're the founder of LexPal.
Yes. Yeah.
Where did your inspiration to start this company come from?
My inspiration to start this company came from my own experience with learning languages. So in the university, there was a requirement to take a language. I started French and I fell in love with it. And I took it for several semesters. And then I decided to study abroad. And when I landed in France, I didn't know I couldn't speak anything. I knew so much French. I passed all these exams. I got qualified to study abroad, but my host mom came to pick me up at the station, and she's like, talking to me, I have no idea how to respond, right? So I just did not have the conversational proficiency that matched up with like the French I actually knew.
Right.
And I feel like that's like a gap that like so many people have. Like there are these requirements in high school and college, like, and no one knows how to speak fluently at all.
Right.
And so that's kind of when I realized that like there needs to be a tool or a product for this. And the thing that accelerated me too is I also took some Spanish classes in university.
Okay.
And there were a lot of like international students from like Spanish speaking, like Latin America or Spain. And so like my university, Columbia, actually had a language exchange program where they would match people up, like in the back office. You submit your form and then they'd say, okay, who do you actually match with?
Right.
And then they'd assign you a person. And so I actually was assigned like a Spanish speaker, like a guy from Spain. And so like he became like my best friend.
Oh, that's great.
We like hung out like every week, every 2 weeks. And they always told us like bring some material to talk about.
Right.
Like bring a poem, bring something from class, bring like something from news, like anything that you want, music, anything fun, and then just talk about it. And so we do that, and we just like talk about these fun topics. And so that really, and I'm like, I took Spanish in elementary school. Like,
right. Wow, so you've been learning languages for a long time.
For a long time.
Yeah.
But like, I never could like speak it. And like just talking to him, I just like,
it's just accelerated your learning.
So much better.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. The marketplace is filled with apps.
Yeah.
It's like you said, Duolingo, Rosetta Stone. What is it about your app that is different that would really help accelerate someone's language learning capabilities?
Competitive edge is that LexPal includes AI.
Okay.
It includes curriculum, and it includes social networking. So that's something that no other app on the market includes all three of those.
So it's like a 3-pillar strategy.
Yes. Yeah.
And can you talk me through the interplay of these 3 pillars?
In what way?
My question is really about understanding what the balance is of why it's important to have all 3.
So Duolingo is so great because it's like gamified, right? So, and it has curriculum that's gamified. That's their competitive edge. And then you have an app like Tandem where it's like a database of learners.
Right.
And so you can go in and you can find someone in another part of the world and you can message them. And then you have like AI apps now where you can talk to the AI. You could talk to ChatGPT in a foreign language.
Right.
But the thing is, none of all those 3 things individually, they're great for helping you build a certain skill. But this app that allows you to build all of your skills. So it integrates all of those components.
Right.
And you can build all those skills at once. So it has the curriculum where you can learn new material. Tandem only has partners. They only have people. It doesn't have curriculum to help you.
Right.
So what happens with apps like that is like you go on, you meet someone. That person might be flaky. The conversation can get boring. You run out of things to talk about. There's no new material for you to actually learn new vocabulary, learn new verbs. And the thing is, they're not a tutor. They're not a teacher. They're not an educator.
They're just a person.
They're just a person.
Right.
And so some people, they don't end up advancing as quickly or becoming more fluent because they're not really, there's nothing to supplement that, just only the conversation only.
Right. And that's where the curriculum comes into play.
And that's where the curriculum comes into play. And like, if you're having a conversation, have a curriculum to guide your conversation. Talk about grocery shopping in French. Talk about hiking in Spanish. Talk about technology in German or something. And then you have you're building vocabulary. You're learning new themes and new things to discuss. And so you're building those skills through talking to someone.
Yeah.
And then the AI generating it's giving you fresh content, unlimited fresh content to learn from.
Right.
And it's also helping you to supplement like your grammar learning too, because like I said, a native speaker, they're not an educator. They can't teach you grammar.
Right.
I can't teach someone English grammar.
Right.
I can talk to them, but I can't tell them. And so like having like an AI there, you can actually ask it, can you break down this this concept
explanation, help me understand.
and help me understand.
Right.
Yeah, and that's something that you can't get from like a Tandem or like a Duolingo or just a bare chat GPT
Right.
bot.
And so with the combination of like the 3-pillar strategy of, having a real life person, having an AI, and having the curriculum, at every point in which your language learning hits an obstacle, you actually have another pillar to lean on to help progress you a little bit further.
Exactly.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. That's so cool.
Hope you'll use it.
Yeah, of course. Like I'm really been trying to get my Spanish to like new heights and become like native fluent. And it's really complicated. I think that for me, I would love to meet more people. I would love to, have the curriculum and also someone like an AI there to help support me. Like I can't get this subjunctive to save my life. So, because it doesn't exist in English, right? We don't have the subjunctive. And so, this 3-pillar strategy I think could be really helpful. I want to pivot a little bit to talk about kind of the technical and more complicated aspects of being a founder.
Sure.
Right? Tell me about your journey into entrepreneurship.
So my journey to entrepreneurship was very nonlinear. My family does not come from entrepreneurship at all. Like my parents don't own any businesses or anything. But like I always knew I wanted to start my own business. In university, I majored in economics and I took a lot of business courses. And I actually started off my career in education. I was teaching abroad in France for like a year, and then I switched into tech after that.
Okay.
And I knew that I was like building the skills. I wanted to build technical skills that I knew would like later help me when I started my own tech company.
Right.
So I learned like SQL. That was like my first. I was like a customer experience analyst.
Okay.
At a tech startup.
Okay.
It was like marketing technology. And so I had to learn like customer success. I had to talk to clients, but then I would also work on the client's like database. And I would help them with like their marketing campaigns and everything. So I was learning like a lot of skills just from being in the startup environment. And then I started like getting into data science, and then I ended up taking a data science program at Flatiron. And then I took another data science program at New York City Data Science Academy.
Okay.
And I started learning like Python, and I started learning art. I learned a little bit of art for economics in college, but I actually realized that a lot of the content that I learned in like my data science course was something that I learned like in econometrics from college.
You took econometrics?
I took econometrics and calculus 3.
Whoa, okay.
For my economics major, and then I was like, oh my god, I actually need all of this for data science. So I was able to understand a lot of it.
Yeah.
Camps are really short.
Yeah.
And you have to learn all these complex like concepts in a short amount of time. So like I learned machine learning, and then I started working at Bloomberg after that. And so I was in a global data department, and I was able to apply a lot of my data science skills in that role as well. But then LexPal was always something. I didn't have the name for it at the time. I just knew I wanted to do a social networking app for language learning.
Right.
But then I decided to like just take the plunge, and it was like the perfect time just because ChatGPT came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the idea, but without AI.
Right.
It was like a social networking Facebook, and then like a Duolingo, right?
Right.
So I had the idea in mind, but then the AI came out. I was like, oh my god, AI would be like
it's like jet fuel. It's
like
perfect.
It like makes the product perfect, and so that's why I decided to to go for it.
That's incredible.
That's like my journey to entrepreneurship. Yeah.
So I heard something in there, and I just wanna dive into it because it seemed to me like you alluded to you were not a engineering undergrad, right?
No.
Did you learn all of your technical skills from this boot camp, or were you self-taught?
A bit of both.
Okay.
When I was in France during my teaching fellowship, there was a school called School 42.
Okay.
And they had a programming boot camp, but it was all self-driven.
Okay.
So they didn't really give us like a lot to go off of. They just saw this exercise, and you had to sort of teach yourself. You had to go online and like just teach yourself these concepts and solve exercises yourself. So it was like a lot of like self-teaching.
Right.
And then the Flatiron program, I wasn't really in person. So it was a lot of like me just teaching myself.
Right. You had almost like a syllabus that you followed, and then but you kind of did all of the work yourself.
Did all of the work myself.
Yeah.
Supplemented all of that learning. And then even on my team at Bloomberg, the project that I got, it wasn't something mandatory. It wasn't something that I had to do. I pushed myself into it. I told my manager I want more like heavy data science projects, and she sort of found that opportunity for me on a Scrum team. And so I took that on and like I crushed that. Yeah.
That's insane.
So yeah, I taught myself a lot of, yeah.
It sounds to me that like you learned a lot of these really technical, complex engineering skills on your own, or at least followed, the syllabus that was outlined, but you're mostly self-taught. That requires an incredible amount of discipline and focus, no?
Yeah. And I took some intro to computer science courses online too, like on Coursera. Do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I was gonna shout out some of the courses, but
Shout them out.
like CS50, like Harvard's like intro to computer science class. I took that.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let's just give the people what they're thinking, because I'm thinking it right now.
There's so much out there. If you're motivated to learn, you could just
like like if I'm not technical, I'm not technical.
Yeah.
Right. Like I can do like a hello world, and that's about the extent of my.
That's pretty technical to me.
What are some courses that you would recommend people take if they wanted to like learn quickly how to do CS right now?
So it's a CS. So there is like an intro to machine learning course by this professor named Andrew. And there's CS50.
Okay.
Harvard's like intro course.
Okay.
And
all of this is on Coursera?
This is all like, you can find things on Udemy, Coursera. There's so much open source, like.
And it's all free.
Yeah, it's all free.
That's insane.
Everything is online now.
Yeah, everything is online. So like there's less and less excuses.
Yeah.
To not achieve your dreams these days, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
One of the things that you were mentioning earlier that I thought to be quite interesting is that when you were at Bloomberg, you were communicating to your manager that you were like very interested in like taking on more and more technical projects.
Yeah.
And I view that as being the natural responsibility of a manager to help you achieve your goals.
Yeah.
But, one of the things that I think a lot of people have a difficult time with is mentorship, because sometimes your manager doesn't have that kind of work, right? And maybe they don't provide you the type of clarity that you need because they're busy as well. Did you have mentors in your career that helped you to achieve,
It took me a while to really find mentors.
Okay.
I think I'm naturally a very independent person. And so I really, usually I thrive doing things on my own. And so when I started my career, I was automatically falling into that nature.
Right.
And so it took me a while to start like asking for what I needed and asking for help to get to where I wanted to go. But I did find that like over time, once I showed like that I was competent,
right.
It's that I started getting more support, and I started getting placed on projects that were more aligned to like my future goals and what I wanted to do. But yeah, no, it was definitely difficult finding like close mentorship, like in more informal, casual mentorship. That's something that I actually have a very hard time. I haven't found that.
Really?
Yeah, I have not.
Is it because you're not seeking it, or is it because like
it's just like I think it's hard to find someone who resonates with, because I think when you're looking for a mentor, usually it's someone that sees themselves in you or can align with like your background or your personality. And I feel like people have called me eccentric before.
Eccentric?
People have called me eccentric.
What does that even mean?
Eccentric? I don't know.
Well, I know what it means.
It has like a positive, they said it, they meant it in a positive way. But I think like I have like sort of a unique background in a way, because like I grew up like working class, right? And then I went to an Ivy League school, and then I'm working in like tech, and like I'm a woman in tech, and then I'm a Black woman in tech. So it's like my identity is just like a little bit complex.
Yeah.
Plus I've lived abroad and like I speak multiple languages. So I just feel like it's sometimes hard to find someone who matches, especially in technology. It's hard to find someone who matches with my identity. So I feel like I have a lot of overlapping identities.
Yeah, I mean, like you are a Black entrepreneur, AI tech company founder who speaks like 5,000 languages. Like, I don't know who can match that. God.
But I mean, like, I don't know, in tech, there isn't a lot of like Black leadership, for example, or there isn't a lot of like women leadership, for example. So that's like, people usually mentor based on identity.
Right.
So that's one thing that's been hard for me to find.
And so you brought up some very interesting points about being like a Black woman in tech.
I did.
Tell me about your experience. Okay. You're like, no.
My experience?
I mean, we don't have to, but like.
I mean, okay. So my experience has been, it depends on where, which company do you want to know about?
Tell me about your experiences overall.
Overall, one of the things, it's definitely hard to find mentorship. It's hard to find, because there's something called sponsors.
Right.
In corporate America.
Okay. What's a sponsor?
A sponsor is someone who usually has been working at the company for a very long time, or they're in a higher position, or they have more influence or a bigger network at the company. And so usually when there are people who arise like entry level, or they're usually looking for someone who recognizes their skills, recognizes their value, and can sort of mentor them and guide them and advocate for them when it comes to their trajectory at the company. And so just like historically, scientifically, that has been more scarce for women to rise through leadership and to have a trajectory and a path. And also it's been scarce also for people of color. And Black people, especially at larger corporations. And even in startups, it's difficult because startups usually don't have a lot of resources to allocate towards diversity.
Like DEI initiatives.
DEI.
Yeah.
At the startup I worked at, DEI there was no funding for it. There was funding for the women's employee resource group.
Okay.
But there was no funding for the DEI, Employee Resource Group.
Interesting.
And so while there was a lot of progress on the women's issues, there was a lot less progress on the people of color issues. And it showed a lot in the turnover. There was a lot of women turnover. A lot of women were like not lasting at the company, but then also there were only a few people of color in the company, and they also weren't lasting very long as well. So I think, like, in startups, it's very underfunded initiative,
right?
Especially in technology. But yeah, I think a lot more work can be done there. But I think there are like a lot of like networks and resources outside of the companies, and also people are working hard within these companies as well. But I think especially like platforms like social media platforms, there are a lot of like YouTube channels and YouTubers like yourself and many people who are like providing like a voice and like a platform and like a community for people to connect,
right,
and to vent a little bit about it. And I think it's a good thing. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for change.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very common for people and businesses to want to talk about DEI, but actually not do anything about DEI, and I find that to be like quite frustrating and infuriating. And actually, like this is not just DEI, right? Like this is just like all sorts of topics that companies care about. During COVID, ran the Super Bowl commercial that said like, we donated $1 million to like help less fortunate people. And like the whole ad was like about how they donated this $1 million. But the Super Bowl commercial that they ran was $5 million. So they ran a $5 million commercial just to say that they donated $1 million instead of like doing it the other way around. Right. And it's just like, it's just the show. Like they don't actually care.
It's
right?
PR.
It's PR. And they don't care. And like, that's fucked up.
It's very common.
Yeah.
It's been happening for a long time.
It's been happening for a long time. Yeah. I think we've touched a lot on a lot of the career, the entrepreneurial stuff. I do have one last question on that topic, which is, what is the most complicated part about being a founder?
The most complicated part, I would say, well, definitely fundraising right now.
How much money are you raising right now?
I'm raising $1 million.
So you're raising $1 million.
I'm raising $1 million.
If you raise that million, what would that allow you to do as a business?
As a business, that would allow us to perfect the product. Product development is something that's super important. We want the customers to be happy. We want the users to be happy with the experience and all the features that we want to build. We need a lot more resources and money to build that.
Okay.
For our software engineering team. And then on top of that, it would allow us to help with the go-to-market. So we want to be like popular app in Latin America, China. Those are the two biggest markets that we want to launch the app in. Also United States, Canada, Europe. And so in order to have like marketing campaign in all those regions, we definitely need the resources for that because marketing and ads, it's very expensive.
Right.
And to build out the team more. So right now I have like a really great team, but a lot of it is sweat equity right now. And so like I've interviewed like interns and I've interviewed people to join the team, but a lot of like key people that I want to bring on board, they have like full-time jobs right now.
Right.
And in order for them to come on board, they would have to leave their full-time jobs and like work at LexPal.
Right.
And that requires them to be paid like what they're being paid now or more.
Right.
So I have to have an incentive for people to join the project and make it into what it should be.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm changing gears here because I definitely want to talk about money because this is a finance channel.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest. So I outsourced my app.
Okay.
App development. At first, I was building it myself. I built out some features.
Okay.
And then I got stuck because I'm not a software engineer. And it's like you have to have full stack engineers on it. So I outsourced for like $3,000.
Okay.
Because my developers are in India. And so I got a really good discount.
Right.
On that. And then I also had a lot of unpaid interns, like recent grads and people helping with work. And then my designer worked for free. He just offered because he loved the vision.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I'm really good at like pitching and like sharing my vision with people. And so he was inspired and he's like, I love this project. I'm just going to take it on for free. So I was actually able to save a lot of money through people just loving the project idea.
Yeah, that's great.
To contribute.
But, I love that. I mean, like I'm a finance person.
Mm-hmm.
And so you come to me and you say like, hey, I'm going to build this revolutionary app that's like, it has AI, it has curriculum, and it has a social network to it. And then you're just like, and I'm going to build it for cheap. I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to invest in a company like that. Like, at least, like obviously you want to do right by these people and make sure that you reward them as time goes on. But, but you're scrappy.
I'm very resourceful.
Yeah, you're very resourceful. But you're living in New York City, right? And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 30 years old.
You're 30 years old. 30 years grown, girl. You're 30 years old.
I survived.
Yeah, you're 30. You're 30 years old. You're living in New York City. You have a startup, right? You went to Columbia University. Do you have student debt from Columbia, or did you have scholarships, or how did that work?
I actually had a scholarship. I had a full ride scholarship.
You had a full ride
Columbia. Yeah.
academic?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my, dang girl, how you doing? Wow, so that's incredible. So like you got the brains and the beauty. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
But like so you graduated college and you had no student debt, which is probably huge and allows you a lot of financial freedom.
It did.
To like start this company.
No, it definitely did. I feel like I if I had to pay, because it was Columbia was like 60 grand
a year. Yeah.
So if I had to be paying all of that down,
you're talking about $250,000 out the door.
Be able to do any of this.
Right? You'd be at Bloomberg right now.
Oh yeah. I'd be working full time.
Yeah. So this is you're spending 100% of your time on LexPal right now.
Right now, yes. Right now.
Damn. So you were all in.
But not for long though. Not for much longer.
What do you mean?
Well, like, companies have a certain amount of runway.
Okay.
So I'm working so hard in fundraising. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I like a few more months of runway, but like not much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so like we're getting a little strapped.
We're getting a little bootstrapped. Yeah.
We're getting a little bootstrapped, but don't worry. I believe. I mean, I believe in the vision, and I think that starting a company is very difficult. And it takes a lot of bravery and to like go out into the world and say like, I have a vision for this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do it.
I had to get rid of all of my imposter syndrome, all of my fears. I just had to get rid of it.
So you have no fears now. You're just like, I am out there doing the thing.
Fearless, yeah.
That's insane. I have so much fear.
Yeah. I mean, it's so tough. I mean, like, I feel like I have a lot of fear, but like, I don't feel it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's complicated being a founder. It's like you're terrified, but then you have to do it because you're doing it.
Right.
So you can't really be held back by the fear that you feel.
Yeah.
But we do have it. Like, we do have a lot of like anxiety, and we have a lot of overthinking. And it could be like we're doing something we're passionate about as a founder. Like, I go to all these founder meetups, and we're all the same. Right. In that way. So yeah, we all have that in common. So I really love like founders, and
because you recognize fear, and then despite your instinct to fight, you fight.
Like, we're risky. Like, we're not risk averse.
Right.
So you take a risk, you feel fear, but then like, I think to be a founder, you have to be someone who ignores that for like the benefit or like the future of what you're building. Yeah. Say like, this is worth me doing.
But the confidence in yourself that you have right now, was there an aspect of planning that got you there? Like you worked at startups before, so you learned a lot, and then you worked at Bloomberg, which you probably earned decent salary. And so did you have like a nest egg of money that you said like, I can run with this nest egg to start this company for like 12 to 24 months? Or were you like, I'm broke and I'm just going for it because fuck it?
Well, I mean, obviously I had some saved up.
Yeah, I mean, this is New York City.
I mean, I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, of course. But New York City is bloodthirsty for money, You walk out the door, you spend $100.
Yeah, but I was being very like good with money.
Okay.
At the time. Now I'm like being more risky with the money, but like before I was like as soon as I got my check, my direct deposit, I would put a certain percentage of that in my savings.
Okay.
And so I wasn't keeping everything in my debit, because then I would just spend it all. Right. So I was just like putting that away so I couldn't see it. Right. And then my savings account, I wouldn't even look at. Okay. So it was like automatic. And then I obviously had like my 401k. So I couldn't see where that money was going. My employer was automatically taking that out. Right. And then I would use like different budgeting softwares. Like You Need a Budget was something that I started using like in my early 20s. Okay. And so it would just keep track of like, it would just keep a checks and balances of everything. It would look at all of my debt and then it would look at all of like debt, as in like if I had
Like credit card
a
bills?
credit card.
Okay.
Like if I bought something if I bought like $200 of groceries on my credit card, it would show up in the debt category.
Right.
Even if it wasn't sitting there for a long time.
Right.
And then like if I had a check coming from my job, it would just put it in the other category.
Right.
Non-debt.
And so when
assets.
So would you describe yourself as like a huge saver? Like you said that you stash them away automatically. Like what percentage were you saving back then?
So the thing is with budgeting is like usually people have goals.
Okay.
So they like, I want to buy a house, or I want to buy a car, or I want to go on a certain vacation.
Right.
But I wasn't really setting goals because I knew I want to start a business, but I wasn't like planning for it. I didn't know when it was going to happen.
You didn't know how much you were going to need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was still so focused just on my career and my day-to-day job.
Right.
So I didn't know how much I would need. Like all of that planning didn't come naturally to me. I also have ADHD, so planning just does not come very, very naturally to me sometimes.
Okay.
But I just knew that I needed to be financially responsible and save money. So I just put a huge chunk in my savings. I tried to pay off my credit cards.
Yeah.
So
not take on debt.
That interest wouldn't accrue.
Right.
And so I had that habit going for a while. So I just built up naturally a cushion. And I also wasn't overspending. I would go to like Lululemon sometimes.
I love Lululemon. Every pair of pants I have is from Lululemon. So
and I had like just some favorite brands that I would go to, but I wouldn't like go on a spree. I would go on a spree.
Always within means.
Always within means, exactly.
And what about investing? Because you said that you did your 401k. Did you also invest? Did you have like a brokerage account?
Yeah. I had a Roth IRA account that I would put money in.
Did you max that out?
No. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't. There isn't enough in there. I should have paid more attention to that.
Okay.
Because after a certain age, you can't max it out anymore, right? Like after 28 or something?
No. You can max out so basically if your Roth IRA, you can make a maximum contribution. And it just depends on your income. So it's like a tax favorable status. So you pay after tax dollars. So every dollar you contribute to it, you pay after tax. So when you withdraw the money later when you're 59 and a half, you don't pay taxes on that money. But you can contribute now if you have earned income.
I think after a certain age, you can't contribute
After a certain income level, you can make contributions to a Roth IRA.
Oh, okay.
Not age.
Okay, so it's income based.
It's income based, but then there's still a traditional IRA where you get it's a tax advantage account as well. So it's not tax free, but it's like you make tax deductible. You can add tax deductible. Every dollar you contribute is tax deductible from your taxes, and then but you can contribute to that as well. But at a certain income level, the tax deductible status goes away.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not age based. It's just like the tax benefit changes depending on how much money you earn.
Yeah. But I think like one piece of advice I would say, like these budgeting softwares are so helpful. So I know some people use Excel, but just being able to visually see like all of my transactions come in as either a debt or asset.
Yeah.
And then just having all my accounts linked was really helpful for me, just visualizing my finances.
Yeah, and when it's a chart, you can see like how you're progressing and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So
and then some people like they don't. I wasn't checking my statements, my bank statements. That's like a habit that we should have, like checking our banking statements.
Okay.
But when I had that software, like I could see if I was double charged for something, or if I was not charged correctly.
Yeah.
Or if I returned something and it didn't process.
Right.
I could catch mistakes.
Yeah.
Without looking at my actual like banking statement.
Yeah, because we want that money.
Yeah.
They'll be double charging me.
Give it all to us. Yeah.
Amazing. I think we're at time right now. So I have one quick question for you, which is, if you could give us a book recommendation, what would you recommend?
So one book I really like is The Blue Ocean Strategy.
Okay. What's Blue Ocean Strategy?
Blue Ocean Strategy, it's about blue oceans and red oceans. red oceans are like oversaturated. There's so much competition. And people are like lowering prices to get customers, or they have to like differentiate from other products to get customers. But the blue ocean is more like uncontested market space. So when you innovate, you create like new demand. You create like, you're not competing against what's already out there. You're creating like a new space for competition.
Right.
And so like it's like blue oceans, right?
Right.
It's like
uncharted territory.
Uncharted territory. Yeah. And so yeah, that's like what you do when you like innovate really well, is you can offer something that's totally differentiated, and it's something that also you don't have to charge a lot for. You can still charge a low price and still be differentiated, and then just create like this new demand. And so I really like this book. It's helping me a lot with how to think about having a business and innovation. And yeah.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks.
The CEO and founder of LexPal, Zhane Bennett.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Subscribe.